Well, hello again. It's the OhioRAAM Show coming to you from Southwest Ohio, where we have an awful lot of Race Across America fans, a lot of cycling fans, and we're just happy to be able to offer this little extension of our two time stations that we operate here in Ohio. The time stations, first two you run into as you come into Ohio for you racers, at Oxford and at Blanchester. And these time stations are staffed 24 hours a day during the course of the race. We'll talk a little later in a month or so about the exact times of the race and that sort of thing. But they're staffed around the clock. So whether you come by there at 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's going to be somebody there. We have 24-hour food, 24-hour fuel, and probably most important, we have 24-hour fans. And today we have a couple of people from Colorado, although one of them's in Florida at the moment. You just never know where our guests might be at any given time, thanks to the internet. Team Enduring Hope. We're so glad to have you folks with us today and get a chance to see you. My name's Lee Kreider. I host the show, and this is show number 75, I believe, if I counts right. So been doing it about 3 years, and so here we are, and we're going to start down here with Brad.
Yes, sir.
With Team Enduring Hope. Tell me a little about yourself, Brad. What's your life like?
My life is a lot better than I deserve. I'm a CEO for U.S. Corporate Wellness. We're a wellness provider for employees all over the country. Married to a lady that I'm just crazy about. Married for 23 years and 3 growing kids. We just lost our first teenager. She's moved into the 20s now, so we're at 20, 18, and about to be 16. So a lot of activities around the house.
Okay, and you're there in Colorado.
Foothills of Colorado. Great country.
Yes, as we were saying before we went on the air, I have, well, there's probably more of my family lives in Colorado than any place else. So over there in Arvada, that's the other corner of town from you guys. But I have children, grandchildren, grandchildren-in-laws, and a great-grandson, and soon to be a great something else. We don't know what yet, but so we're very productive out there. So tell me a little about yourself, Brad, as far as your athletic activities, your cycling background. You say in some of your things you sent me that you don't consider yourself a ultra cyclist particularly. So how did you get into this thing?
Well, this is all Jerry's fault. He emailed me one day, and I won't tell you the whole story, but we laugh about it now. I thought he had something else in mind and sat down and said, you know what, let's give it a go. So I'm a triathlete by background. I've done 7 Ironmans, 3 times Kona. So I am familiar with a bike, but my real thing is running. So I'm expecting to learn a lot this year, and actually Jerry doesn't know this yet, but I just scheduled another Ironman for about 12 weeks after we're done, Jerry. So hopefully you can get me in shape with this thing, and it'll pay off when I head out to Lake Tahoe for the one after that.
Wow. And we didn't say that to start with. Enduring Hope is a 2-person male team. Correct?
Correct.
And I was going to look at, I guess I shouldn't ask this question, but I'm going to anyhow. What age group are you in?
We're in the 50 plus.
That's what I guess I knew that, but I just didn't make a note of it here. Very good. So let's go, now we're going to go from Colorado to Florida, another neat place, and see, Jerry, introduce yourself, Jerry. What's your life like?
Yeah, I'm like Brad. I'm blessed beyond imagination. Actually in Florida, visiting my mom in Sarasota, 85-year-old mother. Not sure how many more visits I'll have with her, so I'm down here just seeing her, but heading back tomorrow. I'm in the broadcast business. I just finished my 5th year as a radio announcer for the Colorado Rockies in Major League Baseball, and prior to that I spent 18 years doing the Denver Nuggets on both radio and TV. Cycling background is mostly ultra endurance stuff. I've done the 24-hour championships. I've done several double centuries, 700-mile rides, a couple of cross-country ultra cross-country rides on my own, not in a race. So my background is not really the same as Brad's. We're kind of from two different athletic backgrounds, but we feel like we can make this thing work when we put the two together.
Yeah, so Jerry's the experience. I'm hoping I can contribute something.
Okay. Well, Jerry, I was thinking about this today. Now, as you can see from my gray hair, I've been around a year or two. But when I was thinking about you being a broadcaster for the Rockies, I can remember as a kid, Jerry, listening to the Cincinnati Reds, and I don't know if it was Wade Hoyt then or not, but we may go back before that. The announcers, the play-by-play announcers, didn't travel with the team then. And what they would do, they had a telegraph operator who would sit at the remote location, and as you listened to the game, you could hear the telegraph clicking in the background. And yep. and then I think I've heard them tell you they would try to make it sound exciting as though they were there watching the game, you know.
Right. I've heard a lot of those stories, Lee. Fortunately, I don't go back quite that far, but yeah, I've heard the sound of a baseball against a bat. They try to make that sound and put that across the air and duplicate all the fans' noise and all that in the stadium. But fortunately, we're able to travel on the road with the team, so we don't have to do that stuff anymore.
Well, my father told me that he knew Morse code, and he would say, you know, the announcer added a few features to that last play. So he flowered it up just a little bit. But,
well, we still do that too, even though we're right there at the place.
Okay. So now, what interested me a lot as I was reading your story, you guys have a charitable project, and let's talk a little bit about what that's all about.
Yeah. All right, I'll start, and then Brad can come in. But first of all, Brad and I are both Christians. We have gone to the same church. I think we've been there 22 years. I think Brad has been at the same church almost that long, so we've known each other a long time. So when we decided to do this, we wanted to do a Christian charity, and there's a very small group in Denver called Building Hope International, and one of the men that actually the founder, the CEO of that charity is in my Bible study, and so I got to talking to him, and we just decided we were going to have his Building Hope International as our beneficiary. And I've done a couple of these charity rides before where you get pledges for every mile that you ride, and so we decided to do that and then take an extra step and get corporate sponsorship. But we're off to a good start. We've got several donations in already, and we're hoping to help Building Hope International, which does a lot of humanitarian work in third world countries, build an orphanage in Haiti. That's their big project coming up. They have to raise about $100,000 to do that. We don't expect to raise all that ourselves, but we're going to try to help them build a new orphanage in Haiti in the countryside.
So, Jerry, give me a lot of background here. So, this is in Haiti. This is where they had such devastating earthquake a few years ago, and I suppose this is all related to that.
Yeah, it's a very, very poor country anyway, Lee. I was looking at some of the numbers the other day on Haiti, and the average life expectancy is 52, so if I lived in Haiti, I'd beaten that already. 1 out of every 9 children dies before the age of 5 from various diseases or even crazy starvation, but it is an extremely poor community. And then the earthquake just made it worse than that, and we're told that a lot of the infrastructure looks the same way as it did the day after the earthquake. There hasn't been much to fix it up, so it's a devastated country, and we're just trying to do a small part to maybe make a little bit better there.
Well, Lee, one of the things that I think is attractive for Jerry and myself with this is we're big believers in no margin, no mission. If you don't have the energy to do something like we're doing, you can't contribute to other things. And the folks that applies to someone in Colorado, in the U.S., but in Haiti, these are special needs kids. They have no margin. It doesn't matter what they do with their life. They're in a tough spot, and then you add to that the special needs that come into it. They need our help. They need our help, and so that's why we're so excited about this.
Good. Now, I just want to say we're having a little bit of intermittency, particularly with Jerry, and I think it's because your bandwidth is a little show there. The audio is working just fine, but you're going to see when you see the show a little jumpiness. We don't worry about those kind of things. That's life. Jerry's on a cell phone out there, and so we can expect those kind of things. Otherwise, we're working just fine. Well, when you go to our website, OhioRAAMShow.com, I'm going to put down underneath the video the links to your website and where people who could get interested in this can donate. You can see your name there on the screen now. It's teamenduringhope.org. You don't have to remember that. If you remember our website, we'll have the link there. And I see there's a nice little donate button there, guys, where people would like to make a contribution can do that.
Yes.
You know, in addition
we're
to that,
trying
Lee,
to make it as easy as we can.
in addition to that, Lee, we're working with a lot of corporate sponsors. Jerry and I are in a unique position to be able to add a lot of benefits to those corporations. So if there are companies that say, yeah, I'd like to jump on board, I'd like to be part of that, this is an effort that I want to contribute to, it doesn't have to just be the individual folks. If they work for a company or there's an organization that would like to associate their name with the RAM event or with some of the things Jerry and I are doing as a team, and some pretty exciting things, as you'll see on the website, we'd love to talk to them.
Yeah, well, tell us about some of your sponsorships there. I was interested in that, and I think you landed a big one just the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, we've had several. Jerry's been all over it. I tell him he needs to get out of this broadcasting thing and go into sales. But Jerry, do you want to go into some of the folks that have come on so far?
Yeah, you know, I'm very fortunately because I've got some connections around Denver, sponsors of the Rockies that I've gotten to know some of the principals from, and so we've kind of hit some of those. We've got Steel Lawn Products. The regional CEO is a good friend of mine, so we've got him on board. We've got let's see, we've got a printing company. We've got a local company called Watermill Express that is an extremely low-key but very successful company. I think they've got 1,300 water purification kiosks around the country. And we got several smaller sponsors as well, a financial planner. We've got, I think Brad's got a couple of the companies he's associated with on board. So we're off to a good start. We're feeling good about things, and we really haven't got the first year, and we feel like we've got some good sponsors on board and really potential for more.
Good, and you have some of your people you work with, Brad, as well, on board.
We do. We've been real fortunate. People are real receptive to this, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. Rudy Project's another one that came on board recently, and I just sent Jerry a note this morning. I won't mention the name yet, but we may have a bike sponsor that's excited about being a part of this as well.
Well, good. We were talking, Jerry, before you got connected here about the whole world of ultracycling and how many of us feel that it needs a good shot in the arm as far as publicity goes, and it sounds like you guys are doing a good job of it out there in Colorado.
Well, we feel like that's important. I mean, I've had this thing in the back of my head about RAM for years, Lee, and I've always been fascinated by it. I actually think solo RAM is the toughest physical sporting event in the world. I mean, there's no comparison to it. It's almost twice as long as the Tour de France, and you got to finish within 12 days. I think the relay will be easy compared to what the solo riders should do, but this is an incredible event to me, and I've always been really curious about why there's not more exposure for it. I'm surprised there aren't more documentaries on it and exposure on a national level. So maybe we can open the door for some of that. At least we'll do what we can to try to get some exposure for this great race.
Well, we appreciate that. As we were talking, like I say, before you connected, the Race Across America for the what you say the premier ultracycling event, I think we can safely say that, is a very difficult thing to cover for the news media because it's so spread out and that sort of thing. But it certainly hasn't gotten the kind of thing. Sometimes when I talk to people, guys, and tell them, the first thing out of their mouth, why haven't we heard about this before?
Mm-hmm.
And well, we try, and they're just, you know, there's so much clamor for attention out there, as goodness, you fellows know better than I do about that. But
you know, Lee, Jerry mentioned this just briefly, but we're going to have a film crew. We're kind of a odd connection. The two of us bring a lot of interesting things to the table that maybe aren't typical for a team, and so we've got a film crew that's going to travel along with us and produce a documentary that's going to be very well done. We've gotten to know these guys. Their work is excellent, and so that may help too in terms of long-term things. Obviously, nothing over the next several months, but once this is done, to have a very well done professional documentary out here about two average guys that are just out there working their tails off trying to make this thing happen. That could be helpful. So we'll see what happens with that, but keep your eyes out for that.
well, I was going to comment. Jerry used the word easier for a crew. There's a couple words we just don't let people use too much here on the show. One is easier. The other one is just. And Brad just used one of the other words we sort of ban here, average. There's nothing easy or average or just about what you people do. I'm not a racer. I've never raced. I am a tourist. I'm the guy that likes to throw his sleeping bag and panniers and tent and what have you and take out across country. But so that gives me a little insight into what goes on with you people, but I stand in total amazement of what you do. So let's talk a little bit about...
We appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, Brad, you've got a device you're working on that you're going to be experimenting with, and let's talk a little about this this device you have.
Yeah, just real quick, it's called the AeroBar Edge, and like I said, I'm a triathlete as my background. One of the things for those cyclists out there that know their sport, you know very well that the single most important thing you can do is to get in the aero position. That covers, you can do it safely, that speeds you up by 5 to 15% for the same amount of power. So having done triathlons for about 12 years, I noticed that even at the top level, even at the Kona level, at the World Championship, people were not consistently in aero. In fact, we went out and did a little survey at the Ironman Boulder here locally, and only, I think it was 52% of people at the random spot we picked on the course were in the aero position when they rode by. So what this device does, it's very simple. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. If not, they can pull up the website, obviously. But it's just a real little computer device. It's got a little pressure sensor in here. The pressure sensor fits under your aero pad, and it tracks when are you in aero and when are you out of aero. That doesn't sound that cool. But when you then cross-reference that with all the other data, so heart rate, speed, power, everything else, you can now analyze when I'm in the aero position, what is my speed at the same heart rate? Or when I'm in aero position, what is my power like early season versus late season? A lot of people feel like their power drops off when they get into aero. Well, that's true if you train in a sitting up position all the time. Of course it's true. But another study, and we've got it referenced on the website, shows that if you train in aero, your power in aero is exactly the same, essentially, as it is in a non-aero position, and yet you're gaining that 5 to 15% benefit of not having that extra drag. So we're pretty excited about it. We're doing some final testing now. It should be rolled out here in probably March, early April, so we'll have it humming by the time Jerry and I are out there using it on the Race Across America.
Okay, I'm showing your website homepage on the
Oh yeah, thank you.
On the screen right now. I didn't tell you guys before we went on air, but I do have a little control as to what picture goes on air, and I've been showing that. So I think I had that on the air when you were holding up your device. So you want to hold it up there again so we can take a look at it?
It's probably kind of hard to see on here, so probably best for folks to look on the website. But you can see here's the computer device, little arrowhead. We wanted to be creative with that and not just make it a box. So we actually have, it's like arrow, get it? And then the pressure sensor is just right here. It's a little tiny thing, and it just slides right under your aero bar pads, installs in about 2 minutes. I think we've got a video on the site that shows you how simple it is, and I don't want to take our time for that now. But thanks for mentioning it, and we're very, very excited about it.
Yeah, well, as I told you before we went on air, there's some kind of rule in some country. We won't go into that. That doesn't allow us to show video here on the Hangouts. So, but there was a video there that I started to look at right before we went on air. What I'll do, though, Brad, is I will put the link to your website in the show notes right below this this video, so people can find that.
That'd be great. Thank you, Lee.
Have you guys, let's change the focus here just a little bit, and I see someone is pinging me here with a message, and just if you're listening, we'll get to you just a little bit as soon as we get off the air here, so don't, I'm not ignoring you. Now, where was I at? I lost, I lost my own focus here. Two-person team. Have you had a chance to do any work as a two-person relay team training? Have you got plans to do that? How do you see that coming along?
We'll definitely be out there. Our travel schedules conflict quite a bit once we get into mid to late February. But I think we text each other 4 or 5 times a day. There's some nice little challenges in there where Jerry's saying, hey, here's what I did today in my workout. And I see that, and that motivates me to do something more with mine. So we'll get out and ride a decent amount over the next 2 months, and then once Jerry hits the road with the Rockies, we won't see each other a lot, but we'll be pinging each other and holding each other accountable and making sure that we're in the top condition we can possibly be when June 20th rolls around.
And how is your crew developing there for you?
Oh, it's great. So excited about the crew. Actually, Jerry, I've been talking too much the last 5 minutes. Why don't you take over the crew? We're really excited about this crew.
Jerry, talk about.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've got what we think are the makings of a great crew. I think we're still probably missing 1 or 2 people, but we've got an old buddy of mine who's a cycling fanatic who is going to be our crew chief, a guy named Clay Paulo. Christian brother of ours that we couldn't be happier to have on board. Got Brad's brother-in-law. We've got his kids coming along. We got some other guys that we're talking to, but we feel like we got not only the right number, but the right people. I think you have to have, Lee, the right kind of mentality to do this thing. You want people who are excited about it and up for the challenge, but you want people to get along with each other. You want people who aren't going to rock the boat, who have one goal in mind, and that's to help the team members and get through this thing as quickly and as painlessly as possible. So we feel like we got the makings of a terrific crew. We're very excited about that. We're, I think, incredibly blessed by the guys we've got lined up.
Good. So how long are you going to be in Florida, Jerry?
Coming back tomorrow, Saturday. So okay. Just a couple days down to see Mom.
Well, I tell you what, like I said, I got a lot of family out your way, and if I make it out there sometime, I'll let you know, and maybe we can have a cup of coffee or
that'd be great.
A hamburger or something together. I would enjoy doing that. Well, I want to thank you for a lot for being on the show. I know it's you're very busy people, and you've got a lot going on, and I thank you for taking the time to be with us. We wish you the very best of luck, Jerry.
All right, Lee, we appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
Any final thoughts you have before we start winding this thing down?
You know, Brad and I can always use prayer. This is our first time doing this, so we're kind of going this a little bit blindly. We're trying to educate ourselves as much as we can, but any help from anybody would be much appreciated, including prayer.
Well, you'll know a lot more this time next year than you do now, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And
yep.
And of course, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people that are more than willing to say a prayer for you, especially when they hear about what you guys are about there. I think that's very important. Brad, before we wind things up, any thoughts you have?
Well, I'm just appreciative of the opportunity to do this. It's very exciting. You know, I'm in the employee wellness business, and we're always trying to get people to stretch outside their comfort zone. And when Jerry approached me about doing this, I thought, well, I'm asking other people to get out of their comfort zones. Maybe it's time for me to do the same.
Okay, very good. Well, again, I want to thank you all for being here with us, and we're going to wind things up here in just a little bit and pull things together. But before I do, I just want to mention some things. First of all, if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching this on one of the embedded sites, in order to see the links that I mentioned, you will have to go to the show website, OhioRAAMShow.com. This should be show number 75, although once in a while I get the numbering out of sync because we're recording now just in the middle of December, and it won't show until sometime in February. But you can find, just search down through there, you'll find the show that is Team Enduring Hope. You'll see the trailer there that shows that, and the links to the Team Enduring Hope website where you can donate to their cause if you care to will be there. We'll have a link to the Arrow Bar Edge website as well. And guys, I think I'll just put the links to your Facebook pages so they can track you down there if they'd like to. Should be able to find you. And we appreciate all of you who have supported the show. Oh my, I mean, we have some people out there who are just so faithful in promoting the show for us by giving us likes and shares on Facebook when they see us there, or promote us on Google Plus when they see us there. They retweet on Twitter. It happens all the time, and sure, that helps the show grow in its popularity. But more important, it helps us to talk about and share the story of people just like Brad and Jerry here and Team Enduring Hope, who are doing such a great job. Every year, the Race Across America raises several $1 million for various causes, and this one of the Team Enduring Hope is working for is just another one of those great causes, and I'm sure they'd like to have your support. Again, hey, thank you guys before we go, and thank you for all of you for being with us. Thank you, Jerry. And thank you, Brad.
Appreciate it, Lee.
And with that, we're going to say goodbye till you see us again another 10 days or so. Bye-bye.